Okay. Good morning, Larry. How you doing today?
Hey, fantastic, Tom. How you
I
doing?
appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time and sharing some of your wisdom, which I know you're always good at with other business owners. Why don't you introduce yourself and the businesses that you have?
Oh man, it's where do I
This may
start?
take us an hour, but go.
Sometimes I call myself a trainer, sometimes a writer, sometimes an inventor, sometimes an entrepreneur, sometimes a contractor. But I'm really all those things. But have 750 employees in businesses in a lot of different states. It's not just Connecticut anymore; it's Georgia and Indiana and Tennessee and New Jersey and all over the place. But basically, I'm a contractor, and I help other contractors be successful. Um, and that's what I do in all its forms with my team.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So I know it's been crazy times for everybody. How are you and your team, or how are you guys handling all this? What have you seen from, I guess, Jesus, back in March now. Seems like yesterday, but yeah, how are you guys doing?
In my training, so I have a school of entrepreneurship, and I train contractors and other business owners how to be successful. And we always talk about the internal circumstances are more important than the external circumstances. But in this case, it's unprecedented. When the world shuts down, I mean, all the rules, the normal rules of engagement don't apply. So it was really difficult and then so my advice in the beginning, and I had weekly webinars with business owners from all over the country, and the first thing we did was say, you know you've got to cut your expenses and bring your break even down quickly. Don't wait till you're broke. Don't hope this will get better in a week or two. Bring it, as you do your best on offense, right? Marketing and sales, but you got to play big defense, and watch the numbers on a weekly basis, and bring your expenses down. And then they come out with PPP money. Okay. And so now it's like, okay, well, let's focus on maximizing, the government caused this problem. They want to give you a Band-Aid. Let's maximize that. And then it was, okay, well, you got 10 weeks of PPP loan money to spend in 8 weeks. So you got to spend 25% faster, but you're slow, right? So how do you do this, right? So then the conversation was about that for a while, and now they said, oh, we're going to give you 24 weeks. Why don't they just say we're going to give you the money? There's no rules. And I don't understand. Well, why rules now? But anyway, so your challenges and your strategy has changed, all during this thing. And meanwhile, you just got to watch. I mean, it depends what business that you're in, right? Some businesses got busier, and some were devastated, absolutely devastated. So, mine was sort of a mix. I mean, none of them were better, but some were really devastated, and some, other states were doing far better than our state, because we
Yeah.
scared the heck out of everybody, of all the consumers. But anyway, I think you got to watch the external circumstances in this case, and then as business comes back, all the normal rules of playing a big offense and apply.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think the big thing is from people like yourself, knowing your numbers is critical. And yeah, I'm really pushing out for the next 90 days because I think September and October are going to be the real test. When the money's no more PPP money, and then what's, like you were saying, what's your break even going to be, and what if revenue's higher or lower? You got to be ready for this stuff. And I know you and I think along the same lines on that. Has there been any? I know I always tell people it's not one big change you got to make. It's a lot of little pivots. Have you had to make any? What pivots maybe have you made in your business, and how you deal with the team or leadership or anything?
Well, the whole working from home thing, it's, maybe I'm a little old fashioned. I was like, oh my God, people are going to work from home. They're going to be screwing off all day, right? They're going to be walking the dog, and, but I don't know. I mean, we have a $15 million internet marketing company within our business. In total, we're a $200 million company. That's without all of our dealers,
Right.
so,
Okay.
you know, and within that, we have this internet marketing group, and they all work from home. They're digital natives, right? And I think that they probably are a little bit more productive on average working from home. I mean, it depends, like what you got going on at home, right? If you got three dogs and three little
Right.
kids, you don't stand a chance. But um, if some people are, because there's less friction, right, as they walk around and say hello, how was your weekend, hey, how you doing, blah 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 blah. So maybe, but overall it's been okay. We've been, I think it's been okay. And then you have some departments, they're freaked out, they're wearing masks, and other departments like, nah, we don't wear no mask. So um, it's it's been interesting. And honestly, I'm there's a whole conversation here about our freedoms and government control and executive orders and unilateral rules, that are not voted on by legislature, by our elected officials, and fake numbers and all these things that we could get into. But anyway.
That's for another session. But yeah, but I think the key is, as a business owner, you gotta, that's out there. You have to deal with your employees and make sure, like you said, they're so different. Some are panicking, some are like too nonchalant. Somewhere it's probably in the middle, but
Well, in the very beginning, I said, all right, we have a potentially big problem here. And the big problem was, are the employees going to look at me as the leader as being responsible for their health, right? And I didn't want to take that responsibility. I'm not responsible for your health, right? And I can't be. I don't even know enough about it. And so I told everybody very early on, I says, you are responsible for your health, okay? So if you don't feel comfortable, you got to do what you got to do, okay? It's not on me, it's on you. And I put it squarely on themselves, because, I didn't know, I really felt that, I'm a risk taker, right? Entrepreneurs are risk takers, like, virus, and the virus. But other people are not like that, and you don't want them turning to you and saying, you endangered me, and
right.
I got COVID because of you.
Right.
Whatever. So
Yeah.
So anyway, you got to put it squarely on them. And if they make decisions to, hey, I don't want to work, I don't want to come to work, I don't feel like coming to work, I have a compromised family member at home, or um, I want to work from home. I just had to let it happen.
Yeah, I think the flexibility from the owner's part is key now. You got to have more flexibility than to just bang bang go forward. It's interesting. Any pivots in the way you've helped contractors? What you in your sales and marketing, or that you've given advice to them for?
Well, because we were living it ourselves, I'm able to give the right advice to my dealer. So, and what I was explaining, Tom, is since I've talked to you, things have changed for us, where we acquired offices in these other states. Okay. So we have this dealer network with, like, probably 95/5 rule. There's 100 dealers that are customers of ours, that are contractor customers of ours throughout the country, but we now own 10 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we own offices in Buffalo and Savannah and all these places. And so you see different markets, like in Tennessee, man, they've been hitting records, right? Knoxville, Tennessee, right?
Oh, wow, okay.
And other states have were affected far less. Iowa, like COVID, what COVID,
Right.
But it's just like, pay attention to what's happening this week, right? What happened in sales this week?
Right.
How are leads flowing this week compared to your goal, compared to your expectation? And then you can see what are the limitations of the external circumstances, or are there any, or how it is affecting you? Because, you know, you don't just go spending tons of money on marketing when the world does not want to respond. You know, you
Yeah.
go broke,
Different
right?
marketing. Yeah.
And you monitor your spread, right? Cash plus receivables minus payables, and you monitor that on a weekly basis, and you make decisions, you know, based on the numbers, based on what's really happening in real time, and that, you know, develops your strategy. Because, you know, if you, you know, go back to a annual goal strategy, you know, that's just got completely thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to kind of drive as far as your headlights will shine, and then you could see farther, you know, and take on a week by week basis. But it's got to be numbers driven. Got to be, you know, you can't be saying, oh, things are going pretty good. Well, what does pretty good mean? I mean, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah, I think you're right on the numbers driven, and you know, and the marketing has to be different. You know, like you were saying. You know, I've even seen some online proposals. You know, doing Zoom proposals for you know, my HVAC client, and you know, they got better at it. You know, it's not the ideal, you know, but they got better at it.
Yeah, one thing that scares me about online, you know, sort of proposals over the internet is that like we have distinct competitive advantages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to communicate those. It's
Yeah.
hard to have the customer go through our you know, the experience that we put them through over the internet. And like if we reduce it to that, you know, our competitors can, you know, do that too. You know, they can create some sort of, I mean, they can give estimates over the internet, but how do you, you know, show your competitive advantage that way? And so you're, you know, that was worrisome. And we did some no touch proposals, but for the most part, you know, we like to get out there because, you know, what we sell is, you know, 6,000, 10,000,
Right.
$14,000 jobs, maybe $30,000 job. And, you know, it's, you know, you got to show that you're different, and it's hard to do that,
Yeah.
you know, compared to the competition on the internet.
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting development on that. Yeah, that's right. You got to figure it out. That's, you know, you got to reboot and, you know, try different things. You know, the marketing, just being out there a little more, which you're always out anyhow. I mean, your guys or your marketing has always been very visible.
Yeah, you got to have, you know, you got to have a great brand that people remember, you know, so you got to leverage the marketing that you did last year and 6 months ago, because people remember it. And it's this, you know, the same theme, the same headline or tagline or something that people say, oh yeah, I've seen those guys over the years. I've seen them over and over and over again. And when it comes time for me to need them, you know, I'll call them because they've been around a long time. And, you know.
Yeah, they remember. So what bit of advice would you give business owners going forward? I mean, some are still in lockdown, unfortunately. You know, I said the training mode, some are in warming up. You know, a lot of the spas and health places are, you know, they're in that warming up, trying to figure it all out. And then there's others that are growing. I mean, what would you give advice for, you know, other business owners?
Well, right now, consumers have a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the amount of money saved by U.S. consumers is at an all-time high. I mean, it went on a just vertical, right?
Right.
Because of what the government did, and because of business owners, PPP money, and people didn't spend. You know, so they have lots of money to spend. So I think it's going to be a good second half. I think some businesses, you know, one piece of advice that I think that business owners don't get a lot is be careful what business you go to in the first place. Be careful what business you go into, right? Like if you succeed, what does that look like? You know, you can put all your sweat and effort and your being into a business, and it doesn't move the needle a hell of a lot if you succeed, right? And you could put the same effort into a different business where there's some margins and some volume, and just getting 2% of the market share would be, wow, it's a giant business, right? So if it's super, super nichey and you've been just devastated, and like friends of mine, I mean, they own a gym, right? Okay, so they've been shut down. Okay, so it's gone to zero. Now, it was a CrossFit gym. They still billed me for,
Yeah.
during the whole thing, even though they were shut down. But even when they're doing well, they're not doing very well.
Right.
So why are you continuing this path? Why not just say, all right, well, let's start over, right? What do I want to do with my life? What do I, who do I want to be? I mean, following your passion is not always a great idea. I mean, despite the, the things you do, what you love. Well,
Yeah. No,
you like my business. I mean, I started as a contractor, but I'm not I'm not the guy, working on the truck, obviously,
right.
for many years, but I'm a trainer. Sometimes it's like how you do the business. It's not what business that you're in. How are you doing this business? And you could do it in a way that you love, right? That speaks to your soul. And so, I would think that, COVID, it could be the opportunity that, the thing that could push you to reevaluate the whole damn thing and
Yeah,
say,
it's a reboot, right? It's a chance to reboot, and all
what's
the
the rest of
crazy
my life?
ideas you had. I mean, I know a couple restaurants who are doing okay, but like why? And they want to reopen. I'm like, why? We're making any money, and now they're telling you 50% capacity, or whatever it is. So I agree with you. It's a time to reboot and rethink. Um, but I think you've always impressed on knowing your numbers. You've always know. I think that's they got to look at it. Not kind of put the blind, especially when the PPP money runs out. What are you going to do in August?
Yeah.
It's going to be very very interesting. But I think we did, and that's what I tell people: keep reaching out, helping. No one knows the answer to it. So we got to help each other, and talk to people. And I think the one thing I've seen that's great is even competitor businesses are saying, you see a lot in the restaurants, hey, hey, so and so is open, and they're like, yeah, they'll push that. It's like good to see other restaurants back opening. But I don't know how they're gonna. I'm not sure yet. You got to keep the numbers on. I have a paint store that's doing very well, but I tell them you got to watch your AR. To your point, because people are, if they don't have the money, they're going to be buying. You got to get deposits, and we got to structure this on a day-to-day number basis. So, yeah, I mean that's great advice. I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time, and we'll work on this together. It's good seeing you again. Haven't seen you in a while. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, all right, Larry, thank you so much, and we'll be catching up with you soon.
All right, Tom, I'll be out here plugging.